Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Legal Tech Hub product briefing. I'm Stephanie Wilkins, the Director of Content here at Legal Tech Hub. And today I'm speaking with Jennifer Ramus, the Director of the Global Solutions team at Actionstep. Hello, Jennifer, and thank you for
Hi.
joining us.
Thanks for having me.
We're excited to see what you're going to show us today. But before we get into that, Actionstep is a name that's been around for a little bit of time.
hmm
And I know we're going to be getting into specific enhancements, but maybe you could give our readers and our viewers a little bit of a background on Actionstep itself and how it came to be and how you came to join the team, and then we'll go from there.
Sure. So Actionstep has actually been around since about 2004. We started in New Zealand, and over the last 21 years, we have expanded into Australia, the UK, North America, and the United States and Canada. So we've got about 40,000 legal professionals, close to 5,000 law firms that are using our product. Actionstep at its core is a fully featured practice management or legal operations platform. So we handle your contact management, your matter management, your time and billing, accounting, document management, and then we have lots of really great automation and an open API so that we can hopefully connect with other things that are in your technology ecosystem. The items that we're going to talk about today kind of build on our core product, which I would say is most powerful as it relates to the workflow that we can bring to the table and the configurability. So a lot of law firms are multi-practice law firms, and they've got different practice areas. And the beauty of Actionstep is that it can be configured for different matter types. So your estate planning team can operate differently than your real estate team, differently than your family law team, differently than your immigration team. Lots of configuration and workflow. Workflow is something that we're really, really proud of. It kind of highlights our focus on automation. Workflow allows law firms to indicate on their matters what step or phase is this case in, and also automate the things that should happen at that step, helping your legal teams make sure that things don't fall through the cracks. Also, it's a great training tool. Malpractice carriers love the consistency of kind of systematizing your process. But the beauty is you build your process out in an Actionstep. Actionstep doesn't tell you what your process needs to be. So that flexibility is really quite helpful to law firms that are looking to kind of systematize the work that they do a bit.
Sure. And I know there are a lot of things we could dive into, but for the purposes of today's brief demo, we're going to be looking at two newer features, which are Capture and Builder. Is that right?
That's right. That's right.
And before I have you share your screen, maybe if you could queue up a little bit of what each of those are, and then we can go live and see
Yeah.
what you have to show us.
No problem. So first we have Capture, and Capture is our automated client intake solution that we hope is going to eliminate just kind of the time-consuming manual process of page-long paper questionnaires and data entry that we hope to turn into more of a seamless branded experience that saves firms time. So you can embed a form on your website or send a potential client or a client a link, and they can fill out information that then feeds into the Actionstep database and can then be used in order to generate documents. So when you think about an estate planning questionnaire where you might be asking your client for all of the names of all of the people that they deal with, their financial planner and who the trustee would be and who their healthcare power of attorney agent is and who their beneficiaries are and all their assets. A lot of times that's handwritten on a paper document that someone then has to go re-enter. So we want Capture to help us, I guess, share the burden a bit of data entry, but also when the client enters the information, it's likely accurate. We're not analyzing handwriting, and it's just less time consuming for the firm if we do that. What Builder does is Builder helps us deal with the issue of having to maintain lots and lots of versions of documents based on the fact pattern, right? So we talk about estate planning, and I always say when I was practicing law and when I was consulting with law firms for the 20 years that I did so before joining Actionstep, I would see a will template folder and it would have 20 or more wills in it. Single, no children, married with children, single male with no children, single male with children, children from a prior marriage. All of the variations were put into a template so you could pick the one that most closely matched your fact pattern, but you'd still have to make a lot of adjustments to it. And so if something changed, you had to update 20, 30, 40 different templates because you didn't have just one. In family law, for pleadings, you might have a pleading for, married with children, married without children, married with children from a prior marriage, married but someone's active in the military. And that number of templates, it's so voluminous that it's administratively really taxing to maintain them all. So what Builder does is it says, listen, we're going to build a core template out and we're going to allow the user to interact in an interview and answer some questions. So instead of having a template for all of those variations, the answers to the questions are going to help us generate the right document the first time. The client has hopefully given us the data so things are spelled correctly, and that data is repurposed all the way from capture all the way to the end and seeing it in a completed document.
Well, that's great. Well, we do love our templates in law, so I'm excited to see
Do
this in action.
we
So
do?
maybe we should just go ahead with you having you share your screen and show us behind the scenes.
All right, wonderful. So we'll start out with capture, and I'll get my screen shared here. We'll start out with capture because sort of in the life cycle of these products working together, the first thing we're going to do is ask the client to fill out some information. Just to give you kind of a 30-second overview though, what we're looking at here right now is our matter screen. So this is a divorce matter that I have. You can see here it's a matter, it's a family law matter. This is workflow that I've kind of teased throughout our conversation. This is where I can visually see what step is this case in? What step could it go to next? Maybe we go next to fact gathering or modification. But you can see that the law firm gets to decide what are the names of my steps and what things are going to happen in those steps. Then we've got an overview. This is a quick overview of the case that can be customized by the user. So you decide what panels of information you want to see. So if I want to see all of the parties on the case, all of the marriage details, key dates, recent documents, etc., I can do that. And I can move these panels around. So we give the users those features that make it so that they decide what they want to see quickly. How can I consume the information that helps me get my job done the quickest without having to hunt and peck through a long menu? We're going to be able to do that on our home screen. But generally speaking, we're going to be able to link parties to the case. We're going to be able to take notes to the case, see all of the appointments on a file, see all of the tasks related to this matter, see all of the emails, phone calls, or text messages for this matter, see documents for the matter, and then also capture custom data like what was the date of marriage and the date of separation and the city of marriage, that sort of thing. What we have here is capture. So this is my ability to say, hey, on this family law matter that we've gotten started, I need some information about the children. And you'll see right now that the children list is empty. I don't have the children information yet. So I can go into capture and say, hey, I need to send you the family law information, the children information form. Okay. And so when that happens, Actionstep can actually send an email, and this is just what they get. You have a new link to fill out. And when they click on view forms, it will take them to this form that they can fill out. Now, in the interest of time, I pre-filled this out so that during our video, we weren't spending time typing. But in this situation, this family law matter, there are 3 children involved. So I've captured the name and date of birth for all 3 children. The customer, the client, can fill this out and hit the submit button. So they're finishing it and submitting it. And then as the law firm needs to identify, you see I have a status now here of received. So I can see visually that they have filled out their form. Over here under actions, I can say, let me review that form. And I can see, okay, they've got full names, middle initials, dates of birth. This looks good. I can close out of here and then I can say import, and that will bring that data into Actionstep for me. So I'm not going to retype any of that. But the beauty is I can review it first because sometimes, the form just somebody didn't fill it out right or whatever, and you might not want to bring that data with a little bit less integrity into your system. So when I hit import, it will warn me that if once I import it, they can't manage the form anymore. That's okay. I'll hit import, and then we're going to see my children records here will become populated with the information from that form. So now I can see the child's name here, their date of birth, and I didn't have to retype any of that.
Nice.
Okay. And again, you could create a form that captured all of this marriage and case detail, right? You could capture assets on an estate planning matter or on a probate matter, or if it's a new corporate file, all of the information about what do you want your name to be and what's your purpose of your business and where's your primary, anything that you are asking clients for right now could be turned into a form. I used a kind of a simple example.
Huh.
But where that ties into Builder is, if I'm going to do a complaint for divorce, I'm going to have to list the children's information. I don't want to type that again in my document. So if I come into Actionstep here and I go to my documents page, I have a button that says generate. And this is where I can access all of the document templates that I have available to me. In this case, I want to generate a divorce complaint. So under my family law matter type, I have divorce complaint. And then I'm just going to hit the generate button. Most of the time, when you generate a document from a practice management system, it's going to take you right into Word. And it's because it's basically a mail merge, right? It's pulling data in and it's taking you into Word. But what Builder does is it says, no, we need to answer some questions so we know which clauses and provisions and language need to be in your document. So, for example, we know in a divorce complaint, we have to state the basis for venue to file in that court. So we can say the plaintiff has been a resident or the defendant resides, either one of those. Do I need to include a statement about either party being currently pregnant? Or do I need to indicate that anyone is currently in the military, right? So I'll just say that Harold is in the military. Where it comes to children information, I can indicate if any of the children were born of a prior relationship. So if I select this, now you'll see the names of those children that my client filled in, and then I populated in my database, and now they're available here for me for selection as far as being included or not. I'm not going to say there were any children of a prior marriage. I can also see down here, what are the grounds for divorce, right? So instead of having a template separate for each time these are the grounds, I'm just picking. They're incompatible, they have lived apart for a year, and the defendant is guilty of adultery, okay? Under my prayer for relief, I can say the plaintiff wants to be designated as the custodial parent for all children, or I can toggle individual children. Maybe one of them is not a minor, and so I don't need to list them. But I have the ability basically here to interact with this document in an interview rather than interacting with it by editing it after it's in Word. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I can say things like, I want the defendant to pay child support. I want the defendant to pay spousal support. If I represented the plaintiff, maybe they want to restore their former name. All things that generally have to be manipulated in the document. You'll also see Actionstep is grabbing the client information, the name of the spouse, the name of the responsible lawyer, what court we're in, the name of those children. Again, we're seeing that come back in, and then some marriage details that live on that marriage and case details page that I've looked at a few times. So I'm going to hit the Create Docs button, and Actionstep will generate this document. It'll take just a second. And then when I hit refresh, I'm going to see my complaint for divorce here created. And all I have to do is open it up to show you all what that looks like. It'll open up in Word, and you can further modify once you're in Word, but you'll see that it's pulled in our court because our court was a party on the case. It filled in my client as the plaintiff and the spouse as the defendant. It didn't pull in a case number or a judge because this is the complaint. We don't have that information yet, but it indicates here, there's my statement about venue. Here is some of my statements about the details of their marriage. Plaintiff is an active duty military. Here are my grounds. We said they were incompatible. We said they have lived separate and apart. We said she's guilty of adultery. Here's our prayer where we can see she's asked to be designated as the residential parent of the children, and then they're listed here because I had that information in the database and it pulled through. Here's what she's asking for. It's pulled in my name and my bar number because I was the responsible lawyer. And so we've generated a document really quickly, and we have seen how Capture can help us get data into our database, and then we can use Builder to generate documents more quickly that are more streamlined, and we don't have to maintain 1,000 different templates because we have the ability to interact with that interview and say, what are the things that are going to impact the resulting document?
Great. Yeah, that's a really intelligent way to go about addressing that problem of that mountain of templates for different scenarios. Like
Yeah.
it's good to see it in action. It makes so much sense when you're watching it.
Yeah. And like I said at the beginning, there are examples of forms. I used a simple one, tell me about your children, but you can have forms for capturing information at intake. You can have forms for gathering information about assets, whether you're in an estate planning matter or probate matter, or even in a family law matter, right? So just giving your clients the ability to see that form, come through in a link, fill it out, and send it to you, it just streamlines that whole process of gathering information that's really critical to working the case.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. So we're pretty excited about it.
Yeah, I'm glad you could show that to us today. And for everyone watching, we will be putting a URL at the bottom of the screen. If you have any more questions, if you want to check it out on the Actionstep website or reach out to the team to follow up with questions you might have specifically about your use cases, that would be great. You can follow that link there. And Jennifer, I want to thank you again for joining us today. This was wonderful.
Wonderful. Thank you for the time. We appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. And thank you everyone for watching and have a great day.